Today we are going to be learning about this poem, The Patriot, written by Robert Browning. So I will first read out a stanza and then I will tell you the meaning of it. So beginning with the first stanza, it was roses, roses all the way, with myrtle mixed in my path like mad. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway, the church spires flamed, such flags they had, a year ago on this very day. So there was roses, lots of roses spread along the path that the patriot, that this famous man was going to walk. There was also myrtle mixed in his path along with the roses. So myrtle is a type of small tree that has sweet smelling white or pink flowers and black berries. So in short, his path ahead was decorated with lots of roses and myrtle. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway. The church spires flamed. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway, meaning that there were lots of people on the roofs and terraces. So they were cheering for the patriot like crazy. They were cheering so much that the house roof seemed to heave and sway. Here house roofs here is actually referred to the people that were on the houses and cheering for the patriot. The church spires flamed, such flags they had. Okay, so the church spire is actually a conical or pyramidal structure on top of a building. So it was decorated by flags on this very day. Going into the second stanza, the air broke into a mist with bells, the old walls rocked with crowds and cries. Had I said, good folks, more noise repels, but give me your son from yonder sky, they had answered afterwards, and what else? So here the poet says that the air broke into a mist with bells, meaning that many bells were ringing to welcome the patriot. The old walls, that is the old walls of the city, they rocked with crowds and cries. Crowds is gathering of people and cries here refers to the cheering of the people. So even the old walls of the city, they seem to vibrate with the crowds that had gathered and their cheers. The poet says that had I said, good folks, more noise repels. So this year the patriot is saying this. So he said that he was given such a great welcome that even if he had said, but give me your son from yonder skies, they had answered, and afterward, what else? So the patriot said that even if he had asked the sun from the skies, the people would have given him the sun, and even after giving him the sun, the people would have said, and what else do you want after the sun? Going into the third stanza, alack, it was I who leaped at the sun to give it my loving friends to keep. Not man could do, have I left undone, and you see my harvest what I reap, this very day now a year is done. So here the patriot leaped at the sun to give it to his friends to keep. In the previous stanza he had asked that if he had asked for the sun from his people, they would have given that to him. Then in the third stanza he says that, but it was I who gave them the sun so that they could keep it, and there was nothing that I had left undone. That is, he did everything that he could do for his people, and you see my harvest, you see the result of what I have achieved, what I reap, meaning what I get. This very day now a year is run. So he says that exactly 1 year has passed since I was welcomed into the city, and there is nothing that I have left undone. That is, there is nothing that I have not done for these people, and you see what I have achieved, what I get now. as 1 year is now over. There is nobody on the housetops now, just a palsied few at the windows set. For the best of the sight is all allow at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot. I know. So he says that there is nobody on the housetops now. So we see the sharp transition that we saw in stanza 1 and in stanza 2. So from stanza 1 and stanza 2, exactly 1 year has passed, and now we see the change in just 1 year. So there is nobody on the housetops now, just a palsied few at the windows set. So palsied is palsied means to be affected with palsy. This is a medical condition that makes one's body or part of the body to shake uncontrollably. He said that there is nobody at the rooftops because the best of the sight, that is today's show, the best sight, it is not on the roads, it is at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot. Shambles is the place where people gather to watch public hangings, and scaffold is a platform or a structure on which criminals are punished by being hanged or beheaded. So he says that I know the best view is at the scaffold's foot because today people are going to watch me die or to watch me get hanged. I go in the rain, and more than needs, a rope cuts both my wrists behind, and I think by the feel my forehead bleeds, for they fling, whoever has a mind, stones at me for my year's misdeeds. So he says that the weather is raining, and the rope has been tightened on his wrist. It has been tightened more than it need be, and it cuts his wrist. So he is getting injured by how strongly about or how tightly the rope is bound around his wrist. So it is tightened more than need be, and his forehead bleeds because whoever feels they are throwing stones at the Patriot for 1 year's misdeeds. So fling means to throw. So everyone or whoever feels like they are throwing stones at the Patriot for his year's misdeeds. Misdeed means wrongdoings. Thus I entered and thus I go. In such triumphs people have dropped down dead. Paid by the world, what dost thou owe me? God might question. Now, instead, this God shall repay. I am safer so. So, in the last stanza, the poet says that thus I entered and thus I go. He said that exactly 1 year ago I had entered in huge glory, and now I am going in such disgrace. He is quite optimistic about it, and he has resigned himself to his fate that he will die. He believes that in victory people drop down dead, but his imperfection will bring him closer to God. This in victory people drop down dead, but he is optimistic that his work or his all his hard work that was not recognized by the people, and all that work that is now considered as ill doings, the fruit of all that labor or the result or that the justified result of all that hard work, it is not given by the people, it is not given by the world, that is the world has not paid him for it, for his hard work and his labor. So he is quite certain that he did not get his reward in this world, so he is going to God. When he will die, he will go to God. So he says that God will repay. He will repay the fruit of all the hard work that I have done for these people. So he he believes in God, and he is quite certain that since the people did not pay him his recognition, fame, or the he did not get the true justified result of his hard work, so he feels quite positive that God will give him that. There are several important themes in the poem. The first and foremost being the public's fickleness. In Robert Downing's The Patriot, uh, we see in this poem that the public is very fickle, that is, it changes its mind very quickly. This poem in the beginning shows that the patriot is a public figure who is getting love, respect, and honor. When in just a few stanzas, or let's say in just 1 year, there is a huge transition to the behavior that he is now given from the public. It, the behavior changes is very erratic. The center of the poem is our patriot who is in a critical situation. Just a year ago, he was acknowledged as God like figure by the public, and he was given a hero's welcome on his arrival in the town. But today, he is being taken to the scaffold to be executed, that is, to be hanged. Public's fickleness can be observed with the help of contrasting images that the poet has used. The same public who threw roses and myrtle on his way a year ago now makes him bleed by throwing stones at him. Earlier, to welcome the patriot, the house roofs seemed to heave and sway, but it is no longer the same. The crowd who would promise him anything a year ago, that is, the crowd that says that, but give me your son from yonder skies. So, he says that just a year ago, the crowd could have promised him anything, but that same crowd is now taking him towards his end. Second, we see is rise and fall of glory. The poem shows the theme of sudden rise and fall of the glory of a man. Just what happens in the span of 1 year. 1 year ago, he was welcomed by the public with roses and myrtles. However, the same public hurled stones at him just a year after. This shows the downfall from a beloved hero to a condemned traitor. This is also a reference to the story of Icse. Alack, it was I who leapt at the sun. We know, if you know the story of Icse, the story of Icse is about a man who used wings of wax to escape from his prison, but while he was escaping, he was very overjoyed and he flew very close to the sun. The sun melted his wings and he fell to his death. So yeah, it tells us that perhaps the speaker was overambitious like Icse. Maybe this is a theme. So these are all themes. We think that the thing that led to his ambition was we think that the thing that led to his downfall was his ambition. Just like Icse, who was over ambitious, he flew close to the sun and he fell to his death. Similarly, maybe the patriot was also over ambitious, and so he fell in position, honor, and everything. He fell in the eyes of the people. So maybe that was the result of his downfall. Then we have the faith in God. This is the third theme. In the last stanza, we see that the patriot who is being taken to the gallows, that is to be hanged, he has faith in God. He believes that he has not received the fruit of his labor. He has not received what he was promised or what he felt like he needed to be given. So he feels like those things, they were not awarded by the people. He worked for the people, he worked hard for the people, yet in the end he did not receive any of such things. So he believes that The world did not praise him, the world did not love him, so the God will give him the result of his hard work, if not in this world, then maybe in the next world. So he says that, so the poem, you see that it ends with the line, "This God shall repay, am safer so." Even though the world thinks that the patriot has done something wrong, he knows that he has done everything he could. Death is not the end. He hopes that since he did not receive the reward for all his hard work, he will be awarded by God. So it says that God is in his. So it says that this God shall repay, and safer so. So this line shows the faith that the patriot has on God. So